the more we recognize who we really are, the less we're willing to be who we was. It's like when we was before we knew Christ. When we come into the knowledge of who He is, the more we learn of Him and who we are in Him, the less that we want to be who we were before we got to Him.
Yeah.
So when God predestined us, He didn't make us saved, but God foreknew us. That means that before we began, He knew us, and then He predestined us. That means that's in advance. That's before the destined is the end. So before the end, He foreknew us. So on the basis of God foreknowing us, He set things in motion to accommodate what He foreknew. Because He foreknew you, He predestined an environment that will cause you to be rejected on several places so that you would not rest beneath your destiny.
That's good.
He disrupted your circumstances. He moved your life around. He ordered your steps. He determined who you would hook up with. He determined the level of your rejection. He prescribed the level and the intensity of your pain so that you would have enough conviction when you got up to be forceful about this. So He pulled you back far enough so that you would shoot forward far enough on the basis of His foreknowledge of you. So therefore, if I am one of them, not one of those, one of them, then it's all good. Whatever is going on, it's all good because I'm one of them that He foreknew and He predestined. So them that left me, it's all good. I might be wounded about it, but it's all good because God is going to use the fact that they left me and the pain that I had about it to push me into my purpose. And then He has predestined. So therefore, there are people who couldn't stay in your life. They had to go because
their time in your life, just like you said, people come in our life for a reason, season, lesson, blessed in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we don't understand when that season is over, and we can be so connected. Because let's say we've been going like this for 10 years, and so separation can be very hard because they've lasted that long. We believe they will always be there, and we don't know. It might be a pause. It might be a 5-year pause where God separate us, and they come back in our life at a later time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We never know. That's why we gotta kind of let God do it, and He knows the best way to do stuff. And sometimes, I don't know, we ain't too quick to run to pain. We're
not.
To pleasure than pain. So sometimes the disconnect will be a little bit painful.
Yeah. But then too, people come into your life because they have a role to play. And like you said, they come for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But they come into your life because they have a role to play. And if God is in control of everything, then He knows who He's allowing to come into your life, how long, and what He's allowing them to bring to your life, or you to learn from you to get out of that relationship with that person. And so, again, He said, those He did foreknow, He did also predestine, and them He also called. So, He could foreknow us, and we not do it, and He could predestine us, and us not do it. Because this is kind of done in the background. This is like the divine preparation work and it happens in the spirit world before we even got here. So by the time that God calls us, He's already predestined everything for us. Everything is already set in place, in motion, before He ever even calls us. Because He said to, before we were ever formed in our mother's womb, he had already ordained us. He had already set us apart. He had already, predestined our whole life before he even called us. So when he calls us, he's calling us because it's already prepared, and it's time for us to come out of it, to come into that calling, to walk in the calling, in that purpose that he's called us to. And you can tell what you're called to by, first of all, we're all called to glorify God. Yes. So whatever it is, if the main purpose behind it is glorifying God, that's the right step. Because if you're seeking to glorify God more than you're seeking to glorify yourself, that's one thing. And then the communication about it, I had some notes around it was communication, it was the call, and it was I think it was the commitment. I think it was. I had wrote down, but when he calls and you make that connection and you begin to get close to God and learn what he has for you to do, when you figure out what your calling is, it's something that you get such pleasure out of doing that you would do it even if you had to do it for free.
And Minister, what you were saying, like how God put you around different ones at different times. It's like, I know, like, because our calling could be very multifaceted, and we could be seeing parts of our calling. Like, at the beginning, I fell in love with prayer. Prayer. The churches I go to, I was the intercessor prayer. Come early, and they wanted to pray, one-on-one. And I did that at that church, then I did it at the next church, and then I was just going on heavy in prayer. But then God started putting prophetic people in my life that didn't even know they were prophetic. I didn't know nothing about the prophetic, but now I do know. Some of those ones that was in my life, they were prophetic, but they wasn't, they wasn't church or calling themselves anything, but they were definitely prophets. Yeah. And they began to tell me, you gonna be in the pulpit. And they would agitate me when they was out saying, nah, I call me pray. But now you gonna get in the pulpit. He called you to his word. And it would irritate me when they were saying it because